Okay, so good evening, everybody. Thank you for hosting us. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Riba, its history, what the Riba Gulf chapter is and does, and how you can get involved if you want to. Okay, so first of all, what is the RIBA? It was created a long time ago, like many institutions back in the UK, over 150 years ago, 1834, through the government and the monarchy. And is now technically a registered charity. It's not a company. It's a charity with over 41,000 members all over the world and of more and more international outreach in Gulf, Asia, America. And the original charter declaration through King William back in 1837 declared it was purposes for the general advancement of civil architecture and for promoting, facilitating the acquirement of the knowledge of the various arts and sciences connected therewith. The current declaration of what its purpose is quite similar, just evolved slightly. So it's a global professional membership body driving excellence in architecture. We serve our members and society in order to deliver better buildings and places, stronger communities, and a sustainable built environment. And the website is www.architecture.com for all the kinds of things that Riba does. You can go there. And I think the most important thing about the RIBA is that together we have a stronger voice. We're all used to working whether in companies or as our own companies or as students as of more individuals. But when the whole profession comes together, it can do things that is much, much harder for something like a company to do, especially when it comes to bigger issues like sustainability, climate change, or driving some major changes in the built environment. And also just sharing knowledge across to improve. So it's this kind of idea that there's certain things you can do as an institution, as a larger body, by sharing skills, knowledge, and kind of operating more as one. Okay. So what is a Riba Gulf chapter? Now, this is representing all the Gulf. We have elected members. We have elections, so we're elected to our positions, as I was earlier this year as chair. And we have regional representatives. There's 2 in Saudi Arabia, one in Jeddah, Amy, and one in Riyadh, and also Oman, Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman. And we arrange and host locally focused events and look at regional issues and regional projects, provide networking opportunities, and more that involving webinars to have events and to show projects. And we also liaise with local governments and institutions and universities to help that kind of engagement across the industry and academia. So here's a slightly older picture of the chapter and when we're able to meet up over a year ago. And the chapter itself this year had an event linking students and practitioners, over 300 logged in to hear various people in practice talk about how to sort of enter the industry and get a job in a company, what companies look for. And we had Christos Passas from Zaha Hadid give a tour of the Opus building, the Melia Hotel in Dubai, and gave a presentation on it. Coming up later this year, a big event we've organized is the first architecture festival, which will be in D3. And so that's supported by the Dubai government. There's 40 practices and students have projects that we've shown, and there'll be panel talks. That'll be mid-November, and there'll be more information announced soon. Okay, so what does Riba do? Several things. It provides knowledge and expertise to architects and designers by compiling knowledge across technical, professional, all kinds of knowledge. Provides framework for successfully delivering projects. So there's tools for project management, such as the plan of work, structuring the stages, and contracts as well, more focused in the UK, but that kind of thing of giving some of the framework for delivering projects and managing them in terms of documentation. Also arranges major awards for buildings and students. Shosin, the gold medal, the President's medals for students, Sterling Prize for Building of the Year. Provides networking opportunities by bringing people together and connecting with government and other entities. Also actually arranges competitions, hosts competitions, and helps clients arrange competitions if they want somebody to support them arrange competition. Riba does that too. And lobbies the government and media to champion architects, better buildings, stronger communities, to higher environmental standards. And there's an example in the UK recently where the government was looking to change the planning law to basically make it possible to build almost anything you want, like kind of ripping up affection plans. But the Riba lobbied to say, if you're going to make changes, make sure there's a minimum standard for housing, or you'll end up with the problem they had before in the UK of very small, poor quality housing. So when it has that collective ability and history, it's easier to kind of negotiate with even governments and things to try and get outcomes. This is an example of one of the tools. So this is the plan of work, which breaks down into stages you're probably familiar with. Just so this is doing design stages, and this is provided in Excel to help you arrange a project and deliver. So, these are some awards. So that is Dame Zahadid was awarded the Riba Gold Medal, the highest prize. And this was an exhibition in Kuwait of the President's Medal. So that's the best student projects from around the world. Toured across the region a couple of years ago and went to Kuwait and Saudi, showing the best student projects. And if you're interested in becoming a member, Riba will support you in your work with networking opportunities and our practical tools as shown. There are many types of memberships and designers, and I've put a link there for how to follow up. Okay, that's the end of my 5-minute introduction of what we are and do. I'm going to pass on now to Sheikha, who will tell you about her experience with the MEAP course in Riba. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andy. We'll try and show screen. السلام عليكم جميعا. اليوم راح أقدم جزئيتي بالعربي. راح أتكلم عن المعهد الملكي للمعماريين البريطانيين RIBA والممبرشيب Eligibility Assessment Panel. طبعا نبذة بسيطة عني، مهندسة معمارية، بكالوريوس من الجامعة الأمريكية، وعندي ماجستير في التنمية والتخطيط الدولي من كارديف في بريطانيا. راح أكلمكم اليوم عن برنامج اللي هو MEAP، وهي دورة مصممة للمعماريين المقيمين خارج بريطانيا، يتم من خلالها تأهيل الطلاب الهندسة أو المعماريين لعرض ملفهم على لجنة التقييم مختصة للانتساب بالجمعية. طبعا من هم المؤهلين؟ مثل ما ذكرت سابقا، هم حاصلين على شهادات الهندسة المعمارية لا تقل عن 5 سنين، وعندهم خبرة عملية لا تقل عن 2 سنين في مجال الهندسة، سواء كان المجال الخاص، الشركات الخاصة أو المجال الحكومي. تشمل الدورة محاضرات على مدار يومين، اجتماعات دورية طبعا مع لجنة التقييم ينظرون فيها لملفكم، يقيمون الملف إذا في أي تعديلات. طبعا في فيديوهات إرشادية على الويب سايت. شو هي فوائد الدورة؟ فوائد الدورة طبعا بشكل مبسط، الدورة بحد ذاتها تعطيك الخبرة العملية اللي يمكن أنت ما حصلت عليها عشان تنضم للمعهد الملكي. طبعا في مواد علمية مكثفة، يعرفونك على كيفية تقديم خدمات الاستشارات، يعرفونك على الإطار القانوني بشكل عام، إدارة الشركات الاستشارات أو إدارة المشاريع والمشتريات. كيف ممكن الشخص يكمل النموذج؟ عبارة عن جزئين. الجزء الأول عبارة عن تقديم استمارة الطلب، رسالة البيان الشخصي أو اللي هو البيرسونال ستيتمنت، رسالة مرجعية أو شهادات خبرة، سواء كانوا من أكاديميين، من دكاترة في الجامعة، أو من أصحاب العمل أو رؤساء العمل. وطبعا إذا في أي بحوث أو أطروحات من الجامعة ممكن الشخص أو مقدم الطلب أن يرفقها مع الطلب. الجزء الثاني، وهو أنا بقول الجزء الأساسي من الطلب، تقدمون 3 أشياء أساسية، هي خريطة المعايير، وفيه 11 معيار. لازم كل شخص مقدم الطلب طبعا يعرض 5 مشاريع ويحاول أنه يغطي 11 معيار على حسب المشاريع. 11 معيار يتكونون عن الاستدامة، البناء والمقاولات، أو حتى إدارة المشاريع. فالشخص اللي بيعرض ملفه يحاول يختار المشاريع اللي تشمل أكبر عدد من المعايير اللي المعهد يطلبها، وطبعا يعرضها بشكل صور أو عرض تقديمي اللي هو الديجيتال بورتفوليو. طبعا راح يكون في الجزء الأخير اللي هو الأسئلة، لكن إذا في أي أسئلة خطرت على بالكم بعدين أو حابين تستفسرون عنها، ممكن أنكم ترسلون لنا بالإيميل اللي موجود قدامكم، أو الإيميل الشخصي لي أنا sheikha.azam@live.com. وشكرا لحسن الاستماع ويعطيكم العافية.
شكرا شيخة. Thank you, Andrew. So if anyone have questions, we can share it now. وأيضا we can have questions for Andrew in English or for شيخة in Arabic. نقدر ناخذ أسئلة بالعربي حتى لشيخة إذا أحد عنده.
We still have Amy and Mohammed to give their talk as well.
Please, go ahead.
Right, so my name is Amy Lam. I'm an architect with a practice based in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I've been here for 12 years. So I just want to touch upon, because we have a 5 minutes presentation time, the topic which is very close to my heart is about women in architecture. I think what's important to know that is actually through my own experience and through meeting many graduates, female graduates from universities in Saudi Arabia, I just want to present an opening introduction about this topic. The RIBA has held a number of events about the Women in Architect topic. Some of the major events that we have had in the past back in the UK is Women in Architecture Awards, which is to celebrate the best female architects around the world. We also have held in March a Future Leaders event, which is aimed at women delegates and to provide opportunity for women to mentor students or young female architects. In February last year, we had a forum which is in celebration of women in architecture. And on the 5th of June annually, which is every year, there is a day which is called the Etho Day. And this is basically a day inspired by a lady, an English lady called Ethel Mary Childs, who is the first woman to be elected as a membership to the RIBA back in the 1898. So what I want to touch upon is that particularly I think in Saudi Arabia, where architecture has been opened up to female in the past decade, 10 years, or the last 5 to 10 years. Prior to that, in the 80s, we have seen architects who had to study abroad, or female architects that goes outside and come back. And some find it struggle to practice, and others have left and open practice somewhere else. So I want to share with you a survey which was done last year by the Middle East Architect Journal, and some of the participations of 141 female architects, which took the survey, and it opens up a discussion about the gender equality and also the gender discrimination, which is something that I think we can all try to help. At least 49% of the survey is by UAE female architects. Saudi Arabia has 1%, Kuwait 1%, Egypt 1%, Jordan 8%, Palestine 3%, Iraq 2%, and Lebanon 2%. The survey looked at a number of factors that contribute to the workplace environment, and that includes income, career growth, gender equality among staff, gender discrimination in office meetings and during site visits. The survey highlighted 57% of the female architects have similar challenges arise due to their gender, which include less pay than similar qualified male architects, discrimination in meetings, site visits with clients, contractors, and so forth. There's also societal pressures that affect workplace culture. Less than around 35% of the management team is female at any organizations in the Gulf region. 60% of the survey believe that there is a pay gap between female and male architects. So these are some of the background and some of the challenges that came out from this survey, which is a very limited numbers of female architects. What can we do? I think since we have set up the Gulf chapters, we have provided many platforms and talks and discussion to develop and promote women's growth. For example, I myself in Jeddah chapter, I have actually set up mentor programs for young female architects or graduates. I have visited universities and explained how the process of construction and building works. And I think through female architects encouraging the young architects to work together, I think this is something that some of the goal that we can achieve. Other than that, we can there's also create an environment of fellowship, promoting dialogues about this issue, and just establish a natural progression from student to registered architect. And I think we have had very good examples in Saudi Arabia of female architects. Asa Al-Ghadha, which is the first licensed architect back in Saudi in the 80s. Sumaya Dabakh, our previous chair of the Gulf chapter. who is based her office in Dubai. We've also have Nadia Bahashri, which is the Arab Women's Excellence Awards for Excellence in Architecture. And we have our very own young female architect, Shahad El-Azaz, which is her practice is in Riyadh. And 2 years ago, big organizations like GACA appointed 2 female Saudi architects to design the kingdom's airport project. And I'm just going to wrap this up very quickly, is that I think the challenge is not just in the Middle East or in Saudi Arabia. I think it's a global challenge. I mean, only about a quarter of the registered architects in the UK with RIBA are female architects. And I think this is an issue and an awareness that is worth about bringing forward, particularly with the kingdom of the 2030 vision, where there's a promotion of more women at workforce. And I think the construction industry needs to be aware that the potential of the talents that can be brought to the industry. And I think in the past, there's always been an interior design as women and architects as male in the kingdom. I mean, I was on site yesterday, and two young men, which I was showing around the site, asked me whether I was an architect or whether I'm an interior designer. I think this is something that we come across quite often, but I think the culture of change and in the way we think has changed, and I think will be changing in the longer run. So that's a topic which I think is just a starter for today's discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amy. Mohammed, you'll be talking next.
Good evening, everyone. مساء الخير والسلام عليكم. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. راح أتكلم بالعربي حسب طلب الأكثرية، وما عندي أي سلايدز اليوم، فراح أتكلم بشكل سريع، وإن شاء الله يكون في عندنا وقت نتفاعل معكم عن طريق الأسئلة في الآخر إن شاء الله. مقدمة عن نفسي، أنا مهندس مدني أو structural engineer من مواليد دبي، ودرست الهندسة في جامعة أكسفورد، ومن ثم حصلت شهادة أو مؤهل الايستراكتي اللي هو جمعية المهندسين الإنشائيين في بريطانيا في حوالي 12 سنة، وبعدها انضميت إلى الريبة وإلى عدد من المؤسسات أو الجمعيات المهنية للمهندسين والمعماريين. حاليا أشغل منصب مدير إدارة المساحة في دائرة الأراضي والأملاك في حكومة دبي. النقطة الرئيسية اللي راح أتكلم عنها اليوم، وخاصة أن معظم الإخوان طبعا مهندسين والمعماريين في الخليج وخاصة في المملكة العربية السعودية، هي ضرورة العضويات المهنية للمهندسين، خاصة الشباب أو اللي هم أصغر سنا. في الماضي طبعا نحن كشعب عربي عندنا ثقافة الدراسة تكون طبعا عن طريق مراحل معينة، فمثلا تبدأ في الابتدائي ومن ثم الإعدادي والثانوي ثم تدخل الجامعة، وطبعا الجامعة فيها مستويات الماجستير والباتشلرز إلى آخره. اللي يكون محظوظ ممكن يحصل دكتوراه ويسموه دكتور أو مش مهندس. هذا كله يعني برأيي يعني غير مناسب لمهنتنا اليوم في العمارة وفي الهندسة. يجب أن نركز نوعا ما على العضويات المهنية أو البروفيشنال ممبرشيب أو البروفيشنال أسوسيشن، اللي هي تعتبر طبعا الريبة أو المعهد الملكي للمعماريين المسجلين من أهم هاي المؤسسات. بما أنه لا توجد جمعيات فعالة في الوطن العربي لهذه المهنة، معظم المؤسسات تنظر يعني للعمل كمجرد يعني مؤسسات لتعادل الشهادات مثلا الأجنبية أو لعمل دورات إلى آخره، وليس لتأهيل المهندسين للعمل المهني فعلا. فمثلا من ميزات العضويات المهنية أنه يمكن أن تدخل عندك خبرات إضافية، مثلا في إدارة المشاريع، في حل المشاكل، في كيف مثلا إدارة الوقت، إدارة إدارة المشاريع وتوثيق مثلا هذه الأمور. مثلا كيف اجتماعاتك مع المقاول ممكن تكون غير عن اجتماعاتك مع العميل أو الكلاينت، كيف تتعامل مع مختلف الفئات في عملك. وطبعا مهارات التواصل هذا شيء مهم جدا. ممكن يكون عندك مهندسين ومعماريين ممتازين من ناحية فنية أو من ناحية مهنية، ولكن ممكن أن لا يستطيع التواصل بشكل صحيح. ففي حال يعني رغبتم أن تنضموا إلى هذه المؤسسات، وهذه هي شبه يعني هي ميكس بين الدراسة وبين العمل، مثل الRIBA، هاي راح تعطيك فرصة أن أنت تركز على هاي المهارات اللي هي يعني لا تدرس في الجامعة، وأما تأخذها عن طريق الخبرة. ومثلا في الRIBA يوجد عدة مراحل. أهم مرحلة طبعا تكون Chartered Architect، ممكن تحصل RIBA يعني الأحرف عربية بعد اسمك، وممكن بعدها تطلع تكون فيلو أو زميل، هاي عادة تأخذ عدد أكبر من سنوات الخبرة. وطبعا في عدد من هاي المؤسسات حسب تخصص الشخص. بس فهذا يعني بشكل سريع النقطة اللي كنت راح أثيرها، وبالإضافة إلى الأخ أندي شو والمهندسة شيخة وإيمي، إحنا جاهزين للجواب على أي سؤال بالعربي أو بالإنجليزي. شكرا جزيلا.
Thank you, everyone. We have notified the audience if they can send their questions. طلبنا من الجميع الآن إذا أحد عنده أسئلة ممكن يرسلها. اوكي سو هحاول اسال اسئله عربي وانجليزي. احنا في عده اشخاص سالوا على موضوع طريقه العضويه في ريبا بشكل عام. اذا في احد خصوصا مثل ذكرت مهندس محمد انت على موضوع كمهندس مدني، اذا في ممكن تشاركنا الرابط، اذا تكتب لنا اياه على الشات ممكن يشوفوه الجميع. اندرو, we have question from Khadija. Do you have any advice for RIBA graduates based in the Middle East who are trying to pursue Part 2 and Part 3 experience within the region?
Then work experience right now? Part 2 is studying. They mean to gain work experience.
Yes.
Yeah. We had actually, well, first thing, they can look at the webinar we did in the summer, I think it was like June, about this very topic about how to get into companies. And this was already in the COVID period where there's not many opportunities around as normal. But that gave some good insight as to how to get into a company. But there, from what I know certainly in Dubai, there are some opportunities around when companies kind of respond when a new project comes up, and there are still things happening. It is obviously a very tough market. But if she looks at that, some of the things that came up in that webinar, and it's on the RIBA website and the Gulf Chapter YouTube, is as well as giving advice on how to meet companies and get into companies. It's good to make the best use of your time when you're not working by doing competitions, engaging in other activities that keep you learning and keep you kind of advancing for when there is a job that you're ready and in a better place to keep moving.
Okay, this is a general question from Khalid. Does RIBA recognize architectural engineering as opposed to architecture?
I think, well, if in terms of becoming a RIBA member, there are several types of member. I didn't have time to go into all the details, but you can follow up with the contact I gave of the website. And there is a type of membership called an affiliate membership, which sort of recognizes various types of design professionals, which I think would include architectural engineering. So that has a broader sense of what is an architect. So I think the answer is yes. It starts blending into interior design and other types of engineering and facade engineering, sustainability design. And it's not like it's strictly to architects or anything. The way the industry is these days, it has to be quite open-armed and welcome all kinds of disciplines and people. So that's why there are different routes into RIBA in terms of being a member. But beyond that, always kind of welcome to attend webinars and events and everything as well. But I think it's possible to become a member and can contact through the contacts I gave and through the website.
Okay, can you share?
Sorry, can I just add to Andy's
Sure.
comments as well? The answer is that also the Riba Gulf is a chapter member, but also at the same time, the RIBA have set up an office, I think, in Sharjah, which I think, Andy, the office itself can deal with memberships. I think that's...
Yes, they're the best place to do that, yes. And I gave Mafuna's email, which can be taken from the recording or shared.
So we can share the emails with anyone who's interested. And I think the office in Sharjah can assist anyone who has questions about joining Riba.
Okay, so which email to share you like?
Shall I put it on the chat? Is that okay?
Sure, yeah, please.
Okay, I'll do that now.
Thank you. I will share it to everyone then.
Okay, let me do that now. Okay, are there any other questions to any of us?
So far, no, we had already answered. Actually, it's about 7-8 questions about being part of Riba. So basically, there are, I think, chartered members, and also there are subscription, right?
There's I didn't include the slide. There's 8-10 types of members. There's student membership, which is free. I think if you join now, the rest of this year is free. Affiliate member is the most flexible, but it's not technically a chartered member, but you're still a member of Riba and magazine and things. There's like corporate membership that people like Foster's and Woods Bagot have, chartered membership for companies as well. There's quite a lot of different types. It's best to go through the website and see what's most appropriate, because some's more appropriate for individuals, some for international people, some in the UK. But in that sense, actually, there's probably anybody's in the industry should find there's one appropriate type of membership for them.
Yes, so they can access the website, and also we shared the email address now in the chat. So if anyone wants to contact, they can approach this email. Okay, so any more questions, or we can just wrap up if no one had any more questions?
If I can also add something, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Sometimes we find that the personal touch is also important. So at least I speak about myself. If anyone wants to get in touch with me personally, maybe LinkedIn is the easiest way. And then we can answer any specific questions for potential members and put them in touch with the right person.
Okay.
Yes, I think also you can through LinkedIn, anybody in the committee. There's a few representatives in Saudi and two now in UAE, and myself. There's other ways to go through people you know are connected to Riba. Yes.
Okay. So if you like to share I will share these links in the chat once we wrap up here.
Can I also add one more thing, is that the Gulf chapter committee members are spread over the Gulf region. So myself is in Jeddah. We have Rohan, which is in Riyadh. Mohammed is in UAE. We have in Jordan, in Kuwait,
Bahrain, Oman,
and Oman and Bahrain. So anyone who are in those regions can contact the local Gulf chapter committee members and see what's happening with events. So what we're trying to promote, I mean, I think Dubai has most of the bigger events that happens, but I think having said that, last year we hosted the Conference of Happiness in Kuwait, which was an international forum of many architects who came from overseas. So these are some of the things that the RIBA Gulf promotes and we do. And I think in the regional, in the local level where we host a networking platform and face-to-face meetup, so to increase the awareness of what we do, and at the same time connecting architects together that can actually also share their experience. So I don't know, Andy, if we are able to share emails of the each region's representative, or they can contact the head. They can contact the office and ask for it.
Or and through LinkedIn. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think we are keen to always have more activities in the Saudi and all the other countries in the Gulf, and we have had quite major events, but only every year or two. We'd like to have more even informal events and building presentations. We're keen to be as active in all the areas of the region. There's an office in UAE in Sharjah, but really that's just a sort of a hub. We're keen to be as active as we can in all parts of the Gulf.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you a lot for being with us tonight, and we're looking forward to see the coming activities, inshallah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.